Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you all for turning up tonight. Wrong button. Hold on. Yeah. Richard and me are back. Sorry for hitting the wrong button. I hit go live instead of hit go live with scheduled stream. Well, these things happen, don't they? That's just the life of it. So, Richard, do you want to say hello?
Yes, hello.
Firstly, I want to just say, everybody, there will be no show next week. Unfortunately, there will be no show next week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what's happening next week instead of a history of. So, if I can get this correct, this is happening next week instead of the show. So we're a little excited about that. That's happening next week. So there will
Everybody make sure that they get to that, because I'm extremely disappointed and upset that I don't get to do this show next week. But Eric's super cool, so that's all right.
Yeah, we just kicked Richard to the curb. Sorry, Richard just was kicked to the curb.
I don't blame you. I would kick myself to the curb.
So it should be fun, should be good crack. It'll be at 10 o'clock, the usual time. We'll definitely have Eric for an hour. I don't know if there'll be an after party, but we'll wing it by ear. But that's not why we're here tonight. We're here tonight to read the book of Enoch. So, Richard, have you anything you would like to cover from last week?
5 o'clock Eastern time. It's 5 o'clock Eastern time next show.
It's not.
With Eric.
It's 4 o'clock
right.
Eastern. It's 6 o'clock. Eastern's not. It's a daylight savings.
6 o'clock Eastern.
6 o'clock Eastern.
What? 6 o'clock Eastern, okay.
Yeah, their clocks went forward. Daylight savings has just ruined me completely.
You guys don't do that?
Oh, we do, but we're a month behind you.
What?
Yes, we don't do it at the same time. We do it a month later.
I've never heard of this.
So it is fucking stupid. So we have 11 months of the year where you're 5 hours in Eastern Standard behind us, and then 1 month of the year you're 4.
Wait, 1 month?
Just for 1 month of the year you're 4. It's because we're waiting to catch up.
It's not even split up evenly. Come on, man.
No, that's just the way it is, man. It's not my fault. It's a stupid...
Why'd you do this, MathPig? This is very confusing.
It's very confusing for me when I was doing the Dr. Josh stream and everything on Sunday, because it had happened on Saturday, and then I was texting him back and forth and making sure. But yeah, he's smart enough to figure it out. And then I panicked on Tuesday with frickin' Jay. I thought your clocks had went back and was like, it's 4, and he was like, no, it says in my thing it's 6, and then but yeah, it's silly. We're a whole month behind you.
I had no idea.
So, Richard, can you see the screen okay? I can have it at full.
Yeah, it's that black place in the middle of my computer, and then a white thing with letters.
Yes, this thing here.
I can see it.
Perfect. Well,
Yeah,
if
I
you
see
want
it.
to go on ahead with the names of the sun.
You know, we're not. Unless I went and looked up all those words, I think if we just say that bright object in the middle of the solar system, I think we're pretty good.
Bill has pointed out
The
that
size are both equal. This is one of the things people complain about from this text. This line right here, and the size of them are both equal. Yeah, from our perspective, which is probably one of the strangest coincidences in the galaxy that we see, is that from our perspective, and if you could block out the view of the corona of the sun, they are both actually like at arm's length, a ½ inch across, exactly the same. Which is weird.
It's just the way our timing is. The moon used to be bigger than the sun from perspective, and then it will be smaller than the sun from perspective, but at the minute it's pretty much the same. That's just timing.
I think through the history of man being able to write on this planet before they leave, they're the same size.
I will disagree with that. I will disagree with that because I think there is scriptures.
What was 200,000 years ago? We can't really say.
I don't think it was a few 100,000 years ago.
Well, what do you talk when you say it was larger and smaller? What do you mean? Like
well,
how
the
long
moon
ago?
was closer, and the moon will be further away. At the minute, it is at the perfect distance to look the same as they are the same size.
Well, that just helps me with my theory that all of this is intended for end times. This is the time it's talking about. Actually, it kind of helps me.
Okay, I'm making it worse. Go on ahead then. Chapter 78, skipping a bit.
I mean, doesn't it? Doesn't it? If all this is talking about a very small time frame, 7 years, then yeah, for that 7 years, it wouldn't discernibly change. You couldn't tell.
I had a guy today arguing with me that the COVID-19 was predicted in a book from 2002. You know,
what was COVID-19? What's that?
The coronavirus.
Is that a comet or something?
The coronavirus.
The coronavirus was predicted in a book.
Yes, in a predictions book, which was written, I think, less than a year after the SARS thing had happened. And, you know, it's clearly, you make these sort of predictions after something that's happened like that. You know, you just pick and choose. So I'm making a worse example of yours, but I'm making a correlation.
I think that science can always say if this sort of trend has been for some amount of time, that trend will continue. You know? Like saying, rearrangement of a little bit of genetic material in these really small bugs means we always have to develop a new antivirus and a new inoculation. We always have to. And that'll never stop. To say, there'll be this other. Did he name it? Did he call it coronavirus? Did he know what it would look like in this book?
No, he described symptoms and said it would be close to pneumonia. Now, if left long enough, I have seen things that say it can have symptoms something similar to that, but it is mainly a cold virus.
Well, you know, I could never say that a human being couldn't gather information that they can't possibly have from outside of themselves, write it down and it come true. Because that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm doing. So I can't complain about that. But I would have to say it would have to be then by necessity, not the person, and just something they received in a personal revelation.
The book also says that in 2012 something was going to happen, and I can't remember what it was, and blindness will be eradicated in 2020. The book also says that.
Blindness would be eradicated in 2020.
Yeah.
What kind of blindness?
I don't know. I'm paraphrasing because I just looked up a debunk website to just tell this guy he was full of shite. I didn't go any further than that because clearly he's full of shite.
I don't know about all of it. I mean, I haven't seen it at all. I don't even know what we're talking about.
Well, the Daily Mail was putting this out.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone knows the Daily Mail, but anyone from the UK would know that you can't really trust what the Daily Mail says.
In the United States, it would be. I think we have we have magazines that are supposed to be only for entertainment and not taken seriously.
The National
whatsoever.
Enquirer.
Like the National Enquirer.
It's not as bad as the National Enquirer. It's more think of it, the National Enquirer met Fox News and sort of in between.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway,
I don't consider either one of those reputable. But anyway,
that's the whole point, man. They're not supposed to be reputable, but it's not as big a joke.
One's more believable, one's less.
Yeah, it's sort of in between.
There. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I get you.
Right, and in the circuit of the sun, there was a seventh portion of light from which some is given to the moon, and according to a measure, it is added till the seventh portion of the sun is ended, and they set and enter the portals of the west and go around by the north and come out of the portal of the east and onto the surface of the heavens. And when the moon is raised, she is seen in the heavens, having in herself the half of the seventh part of the light, and in 14 days her light is completed. And there are 3 times 5 portions of ba-dum-bum. Right, Richard, your turn. That's all you got out of me.
3 times 5 portions of light are put into her. So that on the 15th day, oh my gosh, look at this. On the 15th day, her light is completed according to the sign of the year, and it becomes 3 times 5 portions of the moon, so by the half of the seventh part.
Right, I'm just skipping to here. 14 decreases. Are we just talking about phases of the moon?
Yeah, it's phases of the moon. Which,
okay, we'll just go to
that
chapter
is
10.
not miraculous. If it meant something besides the moon, this might be important. But I don't think I see anything encoded here. It's just literally the phases of the moon, which anyone can see that has eyes.
Okay, went a wee bit forward. Do you want to start there at chapter 10? There's a name mentioned. It's probably...
Yeah, 10. And Uriel showed me another law. When the light is added to the moon, and from which side of the sun it is added, all the time in which the moon continues in her light, she increases opposite the sun, till on the 14th day of her light is completed in heaven, and when she shines in her full light is completed in the heavens. And on the first day she is called the new moon. This is like just establishing...
Yeah.
Okay, so this is... all I can say about this is I think it's making claim that Uriel and other angels kind of like told us how to think about the moon and how to look at it. It
says that it's a law. I'm seeing it's here and it says law. Show me another law. So to me, from your perspective, it's saying that these angels have decided that this is the crack, and they built the fucking solar system, built the earth, and put the moon there.
I think these things are important if we're going to like how we think about calendars. And I think there's some Hebrew sect or Jewish sect that still stick to a 28-day cycle based on the lunar cycle. So I guess for that reason, it could be important if you're one of those people who wants to like reckon and figure dates and calculate time frames that have passed, if you're one of those folks. I personally think it's spelled out in other ways that are simpler elsewhere. So I don't really bother with the whole adding up lineages and stuff like that. I don't think that's purposeful.
We all love the begats.
Well, you know, what's in between the begats is highly important. The begats, I think, were added in to make it kind of flow.
Yeah, the begats really
actually don't belong there.
Yeah, they really help the flow. They definitely
It doesn't much, does it?
No, it really doesn't.
I've said it before. I think like your average studier of the Bible would like read each one time just out of respect and absorb nothing out of it. Just like it just flows through your head and you're just reading it. Doesn't mean a thing to them.
Yeah, they actually, anyway. I probably wouldn't even read it the first time.
You know, I've sat down and decoded them, and actually it makes a pretty good party game.
Your average studier of the Bible.
Oh, why is that so loud?
I'm getting echo of myself now.
Yeah, no, it's an echo of you. Sorry, it was my phone. I was loading up the chat because the other one's annoying.
Okay, so it actually makes a pretty good party game. It's like a cooperative effort thing where, you know, someone has the Strongs and someone has the text and someone's taking notes, and then you have a few people that you need like 5 people to do it in a reasonable amount of time to decode any one of those long lists of names. But it does make for an interesting story when you're done. Like their stories, they're not people's names, actually.
Well, that was your whole thing from the start anyway, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And now, my son Methuselah, I have showed you all things, and the whole law of the stars is completed. And he showed me all their laws, for every day, and for every time, and for every government, and for every year, and her departure, according to her order in each month, and in every week. And the decrease of the moon, which takes place in the 6th portal, and in that 6th portal her light is completed, and from then there is the beginning of the month. Also the decrease which takes place in the 1st portal in its time, till 177 days are completed. In the law of weeks, 25 weeks and 2 days. And how she tarries behind the sun according to the law of the stars, 5 days and 1 time exact. And when this place which thou dost see is completed, this is the picture and the portrait of each luminary which the great angel Uriel, who their leader, showed me. Wow, who is their leader? Showed me. And in those days Uriel answered and said to me, Behold, I have showed these all things, O Enoch, and have revealed to thee that thou should. That's hard to say. It's hard to say shouldst. That thou shouldst see the sun and this moon and those who lead the stars of heaven, and all those that revolve, their deeds and their times and their departures. And in the days of the sinners, the years will be shortened, and their seed will be tardy on their lands and on their meadows, and everything on the earth will change and will not appear in its time. Oh, this is talking about the changing of the seasons. This is so popular. The rain will be prevented, and the heavens will retain it. And in those times, the fruit of the earth will be tardy, and will not grow in its time. And the fruit of the trees will be prevented in its time, and the moon will change her order. That's why they went through all that, to say, okay, this is what it's supposed to be, this is what it's going to be, and that's a sign of end times. Okay, now I see. I still wouldn't have, but anyway. I guess it's worth it. The moon will change her order and not appear in her time. And in those days it will be seen on the heavens, and the great unfruitfulness will come on the outermost chariot of the west. And she will shine more brightly than that according to the order of light. And many of the leaders of the stars of commands will err, and they will change their paths and deeds, and those subject to them will not appear in their time. And the whole order, this is talking about like clouds blocking our view and stuff, and all the stuff I've been talking about.
Well, you're putting it into
and
your
the
picture.
whole order of the stars. What's up?
I says you're just fitting it into your picture, but go on ahead.
Yes, of course I am.
That's why we're here.
And that's like the definition of what bias means. And the whole order of the stars will be kept from the sinners, and the thoughts of those who dwell on the earth will err.
Yeah, fucking cheeky cunt giving me shit.
You can't do that. You can't do that in the middle of it. Jeez, man.
Oh, that's why. Go on ahead.
Okay, now I have no idea where I was.
I was looking
All right,
for the
don't make
kick
me
button.
laugh, bro.
I was looking for the kick button, so I have no idea. You're up here, chapter 7. Chapter 7.
And will err and consider them gods, and will increase over them. Punishment will come upon them to destroy them all. And he said to me, O Enoch, contemplate the writing of the tablets of heaven, and read what is written thereon, and learn each one. And I contemplated everything on these tablets of heaven, and read everything that was written, and learned everything, and read the book, and everything that was written in it. And the deeds of men and all the children of the flesh will be on the earth to the generation of eternity. And then I immediately blessed the Lord of the everlasting King of glory, and he had made all the things of the earth. And I blessed the Lord on account of his patience, and blessed him on account of the children of the word. And at that time I said, happy the man who dies as a just and good one, concerning whom there is no book of iniquity written, and against whom no blame is found.
You got very sad there towards the end.
It's things like that. It's describing the Christ. It's describing the Christ that blessed is the man who, benefits all this stuff. And those three holy ones brought me and placed me on the earth before the door of my house, and said to me, announce everything to thy son Methuselah, and show all thy children that no flesh is just before the Lord, and he has created them. 1 year we will leave thee with thy children, till thou art again strengthened, and thou mayest teach thy children and write for them, and mayest testify before them all. Thy children, and in the 2nd year they will lift thee up out of their midst. Let thy heart be strong, for the good will announce justice to the good, and the just will rejoice with the just, and will congratulate themselves among themselves. But the sinner will die with the sinner, and the renegade sink down with his renegade. And those who do justice will die on account of the deeds of men, and will be gathered in on account of the deeds of the impious. And in those days they completed conversing with me, and I went to my people, blessing the Lord of the world. Oh, it says worlds.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Does say worlds.
Lord of the worlds. Yeah. I didn't know that was there. I'll start, for those who would think that Enoch has equivalent value, quoting that along with, let's see, that's 81:10 worlds. Along with Hebrews 1 and Hebrews 11, I'll start quoting it.
Well, I will say that it stands for you, but even from what I knew of this before we come in, Enoch is supposed to sound very alienly.
You know, yes and no. I just think it's less cryptic than the text that's normally accepted and advertised.
Well, I've said on here that there's parts of it that isn't, and I've disagreed with that statement earlier in it. But as we get further into it, considering there's 108, we have another 20 chapters to go, and it's getting a wee bit more alienly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is
Checking the
Enoch
side
talking
chat.
to Methuselah.
Thanks for shilling out MathPig's Patreon there, Inquisitive.
Thanks, IQ.
Pretty cool of you. Okay. All right then, moving on. And now, my son Methuselah, all these things I relate to thee and write for thee, and I have revealed to thee everything, and have given thee books concerning them all. Preserve, my son Methuselah, the books from thy hand of thy father, and give them to the generations of the world. Wisdom I have given thee and thy children and those who will be thy children, that they give it to the children, the generations to eternity, namely this wisdom above their thoughts. And those who understand it will not sleep, but will hear with their ears, and they may learn this wisdom, and it will please those who eat of it more than good food. Happy are the just. Happy all those who walk in the paths of justice and have no sin like the sinners. In the counting of all their days, in which the sun goes through the heavens, entering and departing from the gates, each time 30 times, together with the heads of the thousands and the orders of the stars, together with the 4 that are added and separate between the 4 portions of the year, which they lead and enter with them 4 days. And on their account men will be at fault, and will not count them in the reckoning of the whole world, but men will be mistaken, and will not know them exactly, for they belong to the reckoning of the year, and are exactly marked forever, one in the first portal, one in the third. I'm not going to read all that. You get the idea. And the account of it is true, and the marked reckoning exact, for the luminaries, and the months, and the festivals, and the years have been shown and given to me by Oriel, to whom the Lord of the creation had given command in reference to me of the host of the heavens. And he has power over the night and day in the heavens, that he might show light over men. The sun and the moon and the stars and the powers lost it. Thank you. Powers of the heaven which turn in their circuit. And this is the order of the stars that set in their places, and their names, and their festivals, and their months. And these are the names of those who lead them, who watch that they enter in their times, and their order, and in their occasions, and their months. And I think this stuff is just set up. I don't think that there's angels tending to star patterns from our perspective. But anyway, let's see. That is a whole bunch of describing positions and stuff. It may be important later, but right now I can't see that.
And the names of the leaders. We could start there.
This is...
No?
No. Commencements of the year, 16, and then the signs of the government. Oh my gosh, 18, the other leader who is after them. No, let's keep going. Look for the next topic.
There we go,
change.
there we go. 19. These are the signs of the days.
Ah, here we go. Thank you.
Right, hold on.
These are the signs of the... Oops.
Yeah, well, I want to just highlight. I want to keep it right, and...
Yeah.
I may as well just freaking... Yeah, we'll just do that. There you go.
Okay.
I want to point out that we
And
did.
pinky, purpley, orangey, reddy, green
It's
kind
light
of color.
blue. It says light blue.
It's light blue now after it switched.
It's a whole pink or purple
Now it
again.
switched again. It's the pink-purple problem. And these are the signs of the days of the earth: burning heat, dryness, and the trees bring their fruit to ripeness and completion, and the sheep mate and become pregnant, and all the fruit of the earth is gathered in, and everything that is in the fields, and the making of wine. This takes place in the days of his power. These are the names and the orders of the subordinate leaders and those heads of the thousands, Gadiel, Kael, Hiel, and the name of the head of the thousand, which is added to them, Asphael, and completed are the days of his power.
And then waffle.
Waffle. Not similar to pancaking.
No.
Whatever that means. Oh, do you guys have planking? Do you know what that means? Is that a thing in your country?
Yeah, the lying down and being straight and not moving.
Yeah, but on an object where you're balanced and your balance of center on a singular object as narrow as possible.
Yes.
Like a handrail or something
Yes,
like that.
yes.
A chair back.
Yes. Is there have you tried planking?
Oh yeah, I can totally do that. No, I can actually I can also do. You ever heard of a Superman push-up? You ever heard of that?
I have no idea.
You lay down on the floor flat. You extend your arms out in front of you like you're Superman flying with your hands facing, your head facing in front of you. But with your arms fully extended, then you lift yourself up only on your palms and your toes.
Right.
It's extremely difficult. Like, if you have a bad back, don't even try it. Don't even try.
Night, Bill. Thanks for coming, man.
Peace and respect, Bill.
So, 83.
83. And now, my son Methuselah, I will show thee all the visions that I have seen, relating to them before thee. I want to talk a little bit about the last thing we just read.
Okay.
Okay, it's not conclusive, but it is talking about knowing and understanding, and the one who knows and understands would be, quote unquote, the one who hears. The one who hears is a very, very specific phrase referring to the Christ. And I can't say that conclusively Enoch was not a Christ, because he's kind of here, it looks like he's saying he is. Now, I could just be extracting from it. I could be going too far with that, and I'm kind of saying it without enough proof to show it. But man, it sure does look like that right now.
Well, it depends on your definition of a Jesus. I thought of Jesus as someone who saves the earth.
Right.
But Enoch did... Well, you did say that Enoch came from a different earth.
He could. I can't say.
Well, this story, you say, has already happened. And if he's witnessed it happening, it must have happened already. He must have been there. He must have come
Unless
from
he was like watching a stage play or something. Yeah, he'd had to have been somewhere else, just like John the Divine was apparently seeing it. But it hasn't happened here.
Yeah. So
either he was having a really strong delusion like a drug trip, or he was having a vision, or he was actually saw it happen for real. And of course that would be a completely different thing, because we're still sitting here talking about it.
Right. Okay. Waffle.
Waffle.
The verse.
I mean, there's parts in
no, we'll just do it every now and again. We'll stop. But it happens that it takes the moon 15 days to become full. Oh. All right, there you go. There's this thing. 15 days. Oh, but in the count of their sins. Oh, waffle. We learned that the expression "other three angels" is used to distinguish three archangels from Michael as the head and chief. Oh, there you go. The creature is nothing compared with the creator. You would agree with that?
Creature is nothing. No, I would not agree with that. I tell you now that ye are gods. I would not agree with it. It's not in keeping with anything that I believe is true.
Okay. Chapter 83.
And now, my son Methuselah, I will show thee all the visions that I have seen, relating them before thee. 2 visions I saw before I took a wife, and the one of them was not similar to the other. The first time, when I was learning to write. The second time, before I took thy mother,
Yeah.
I saw an awful vision, and on their account, I petitioned to the Lord. And I was reposing in the house of Malalel.
Make it easy, man. Just call it Malalel.
Malalel.
There you go.
My grandfather. I saw there in a vision that the heavens were lowered and disappeared and fell on the earth. And as it fell on the earth, I saw the earth that it was devoured in a great abyss, and mountains descended on mountains, and hills sank upon hills, and high trees were torn from their trunks, and fell down and sank into the abyss. And on account of this, a speech fell into my mouth, and I began to cry and to say, the earth is destroyed. And Melilel, my grandfather, aroused me as I was reposing near him, and he said to me, why dost thou cry so, my son? And why dost thou lament so? And I related to him the whole vision which I had seen. And he said to me, a terrible thing thou hast seen, my son, and the power of the vision of thy dream is concerning to the secrets of all the sins of the earth, and will be about to descend into the abyss, and to be destroyed terribly. And now, my son, arise and petition the Lord of glory, since thou art a believer, that a remnant may remain on the earth, and all the earth be not destroyed. What? How can that be there? How can that be there?
Do you want to go back and read it again?
Yeah, I'm going to read that again.
Okay, go for it.
And on account of this speech fell into my mouth, and I began to cry and to say, the earth is destroyed. Okay, a vision of the very end of the end times. Fine. And Melilel, my grandfather, aroused me, and I was posed near to him, and said to me, why dost thou cry so, my son, and why dost thou lament so? And I related to him the whole vision that I had seen. And he said to me, terrible thing thou hast seen, my son. And the power of the vision of the dream is concerning the secrets of all the sins of the earth, and it will be about to descend into the abyss and be destroyed terribly. And now, my son, arise and petition the Lord of glory, since thou art a believer, that a remnant may remain on the earth, and all the earth be not destroyed. My son, from heaven all this will come on the earth, and over the earth there will be a great destruction. After that I rose. Okay. And after that I rose and prayed and petitioned and wrote down the prayer of the generation of the world, and I will show thee everything, my son Methuselah. There for a second, I thought it was going to say, let's preserve the earth by changing God's mind. And I went, wait a minute, that can't be there.
Yeah.
Because the earth gets totally and utterly destroyed, never to be restored. Although JWs and a few others would argue with me that.
Your
this
brain,
is what it does to me if I see something that I think doesn't fit.
I'm just looking at your face here, and your face is just going, huh? Huh?
That's the way I feel about it. Like, there can't be one line anywhere that doesn't work. And for a moment there, it was starting to look like me. It was about to be a line that doesn't work, which I would not expect to see ever. And to me, that would be shocking. After that, I rose and prayed, petitioned, and wrote down my prayer for the generations of the world, and I will show thee everything, my son Methuselah. And as I went out below and looked at the heavens, and the sun rising in the east, and the moon setting in the water, and some few stars, and everything as he had known it from the first. I blessed the Lord of judgment, and to him I gave greatness, because the Lord, because he led forth the sun from the windows of the east, and ascended to the rising of the surface of the heavens, and elevates himself and goes the path which is shown to him.
See, I can tell that you're very interested because you're reading to yourself now.
Sorry.
No, it's fine, but it shows an inflection on you, and it shows that you're genuinely taking this serious from my point of view, because you're actually reading it to yourself now and not reading it for the audience, which is fine, because I want to get your introspection.
Well, it better like get more concise very, very soon.
Okay.
Or at least I need it to be. I need it to be more concise very soon. But it's waffling on a bit and kind of repeating itself. And I raised my hands in justice and blessed the Holy and the Great One. And I spoke with the breath of my mouth and with the tongue of flesh, which God has made for the children of men, that they should speak with it, and gave them breath and the tongue and the mouth, that they might speak therewith. Blessed art thou, O Lord, King, both great and powerful, in thy greatness. The Lord of all the creation of heaven, King of kings, the God of all the world, thy godship and thy kingdom and thy greatness will remain to an eternity, and to all eternity, and to all the generations thy power, and all the heavens are thy throne in eternity, and all the earth thy footstool in eternity, and to all eternity. For thou hast made and dost govern all things, and nothing is too difficult for thee. And no wisdom escapes thee. She does not turn away from her throne, thy throne, and not from thy face. And thou dost know and see and hear all things, and there is nothing that is hidden before thee, for thou dost see all things. And now the angels of the heavens do sin, and thy wrath is over the flesh of the men, to the day of the great judgment. And now, God, and Lord of the great King, I petition and I ask that thou wouldst establish my prayer for me, that there remain to me a posterity on the earth, and that thou wouldst not annihilate all the flesh of men, and not make empty the whole earth, and there be an everlasting destruction. And now, my Lord, annihilate from the earth the flesh which has angered thee, but the flesh of justice and rectitude establish as a plant of the seed to eternity, and do not hide thy face from the prayer of the servant of the Lord. I tell you what, the very next chapter better indicate something that means they go to heaven. Because if they're preserved in any other way, I'm going to have a real problem.
I would like that.
And
sorry, but I would.
Okay.
No, well, no, because it would cause conflictions with you, and that's why we're here. That's my job, is to find conflictions to make you think.
It's getting pretty close.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the chat.
Well, you'll have that on these long jobs. Hello, Atheist Edge. That's probably Master Sergeant.
Just if we can say as well, I just got, now I know, Richard, that the whole postage thing, but just from someone watching the show, I got my very first, I think that was down to IQ posting it in the chat, and the person is a shill for the Junk Shop Library. That's how they've described themselves. So if that's Junk Shop Library, I just want to say thank you very much, man. That was the very first PayPal tip that I've ever got, so really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Also, Maya Atkinson and Mr. Shadow Kitty.
See, it's my fault.
And Amiga Nuts.
Yeah, I fucked up
Amiga
with the
Nuts
notification. That whole connecting to the wrong stream at the start. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that you're the first one in the history of the planet who's ever done that, I'm sure, so.
Oh,
so
it was
you
Amiga
should feel
Nuts.
really bad.
It was Amiga Nuts. Thank you very much. I'm looking at the chat now. Amiga Nuts, thank you very much. And hello, Jim. And hello, Maya. Yeah, it's my fault everyone's late. Blame MathPig.
It's pretty funny.
So, going ahead there, Richard.
How we're doing on time? We're doing okay on
Oh
time.
man, we've only been going 40 minutes. You have another 40 minutes to go, and then some 10 minutes waffle time at the end for us. We're grand.
Right on. Absolutely grand, as the Irish say.
Yeah, you're grand.
And after this, I saw another dream, and I will show thee all, my son. And Enoch began and said to his son Methuselah, to thee, my son, I will speak. Hear my words, and lend thy ear to the vision of the dreams of thy father. Before I took thy mother, Edna, I saw in a vision on my couch, and behold, a bullock came out of the earth, and this bullock was white. And after him there came a female of the same species, and together with this one came other cattle, and one of them was black, and one was red. Oh my gosh, yes. And that black one horned the red one, you betcha, and followed it over the earth, and then I could no longer see that red one. And that black one grew, and a cow came with it. And I saw that many cattle like it and following it came from it. And that cow, the first one, came from the presence of that first bullock, seeking that red one, and did not find it, and then raised a great cry and hunted it. And I looked until the first bullock came to her and quieted her. And from that time she did not cry aloud. Oh my gosh, this is the misleading of the beast of Satan.
Okay.
Do you see that? The
I
red
don't know.
bullock.
I don't know that there was a story about the misleading of the beast of Satan.
No, misleading by the beast of Satan. Misleading the people.
Right.
He's okay, in this he's birthing them, but the black cow, also the raven in Noah's Ark, and the Christ, also the references to the red heifer, which is why the Jews look for a literal heifer that has no more than 3 hairs that are white and all the rest of it red, and they've been looking for a long time.
Is that South Park making the ginger cow joke?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, we've
It's
all
the
seen-
ginger cow.
Yeah,
That's right.
Okay.
And it's all of those references that make me suspicious, or I believe that the Christ would have had red hair. It's things like this that I say that. So this is what I think is the Christ and the Antichrist. And the Antichrist kind of overpowers the Christ and knocks him off of the position he probably deserves. But he's the one that becomes the leader. But he's also, he's not a true leader, but he is misleading, you know?
Right.
So I think we're going to see more of that in the rest of this. And I saw in my sleep that white bullock grow and become a large white bullock. And from him came many white bullocks, and they were similar to him. And they commenced to begat many white bullocks, and these were similar to them, and one followed the other. And again,
Sorry.
I saw with. I'm starting to forget how to read English. And again, I saw with my eyes while I was sleeping, and I saw the heavens above, and behold, one star fell from the heaven, and arose, and ate and pastured among those bullocks. And after that I saw the large and the black bullocks, and behold, all changed their stalls, and their pastures, and their cattle, and began to lament one with the other. And again I saw in the vision, and changed, and looked in the heavens, and behold, I saw many stars, and they fell from the heaven, and they were thrown from heaven near that first star. And among those cattle and bullocks, there they were with them, pasturing among them. And I looked at them, and behold, they all let out their sexual members like horses, and began to mount the cows of the bullocks. And these all became pregnant, and brought forth elephants and camels and asses, and all the bullocks feared them, and were affrighted at them. And they commenced to bite with their teeth, and to devour, and to push with their horns. And they began to devour, here you go, and to devour the bullocks. And behold, all the children of the earth began to tremble and to shake before them, and fled. 87.
So, yeah, man.
What do you think of that?
Lots of cows getting...
What are the fallen stars?
I'm completely lost. That's the truth, man. Completely lost.
I think the fallen stars amongst the white cattle,
There's...
and they have offspring, and the offspring are mean and take advantage.
Cows are giving birth to elephants, camels, and asses.
Right. Things
Right.
they shouldn't be giving birth to.
Yes. So I'm confused as hell here. Like, you know.
I'm gonna give a one-word translation: Nephilim.
Okay, so we're just making an analogy then.
Yeah, well, all of this is analogies.
Yes, but I know. Don't be an ass. Right, moving on.
Why can't I be a camel instead? Why can't you call me a camel?
Ha ha ha.
Or maybe an elephant.
That's called flashback humor. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's not. Right, chapter 87.
it comes
I'll
to
give you
those.
this, right? And again, I saw them as they began to horn each other and to devour each other. And the earth began to cry aloud. And I again raised my eyes to heaven and saw in the vision. And behold, there came from heaven those who were like white men. One came out from that place, and 3 with him. And those 3 who came out last took me by the hand, and bore me away from the generations of the earth, and elevated me to a large place, and showed me a tower higher than the earth, and all the hills were lower. And they said to me, Remain here, until thou hast seest everything that comes over those elephants and camels and asses, and over the stars, and over all the bullocks. Sammy's going to have a field day with these fucking sound bites.
No doubt.
Right, so more analogy, right?
I hope he does.
Go on ahead. No, I just doing the one. There's not. I think we're just going through it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just working our way through it.
Well, until there's a topic change and there's something different to say, I think I've said all that I have.
Yeah.
And I saw one of those 4 who had come out before, and he took, although I'm going to talk in a minute about these whites. And I saw one of the 4 who had come out before, and he took that star which had first fallen from the heaven and bound it hand and foot. This is Michael, and put it in an abyss. It's going to be hell. This abyss was narrow and deep and terrible and dark. And one of them drew his sword and gave it to those elephants and camels and asses, and they began to beat one another. And the whole earth shook on their account. And as I saw the vision, behold, one of those 4 who had descended through from heaven and gathered and took the great stars, whose sexual members were like sexual members of horses, and bound them all hand and foot, and put them in the abyss of the earth. There you go.
Abyss of the earth. So we're talking heaven.
Of the earth.
Hell yeah.
An abyss of the earth. Yeah, a hole in the crust. And one of those 4 went to that white bullock and taught him a mystery while he was trembling. He was born a bullock and became a man, and he made for himself a large vessel and lived in it. And 3 bullocks lived with him in that vessel, and it was covered over above them. And I again raised my eyes toward heaven and saw a high roof and 7 sluices to it. And those sluices emptied much water into a yard. And I saw again, and behold, fountains were opened on the earth, and that great yard, and that water began to swell, and to be lifted above the land, and caused the yard to disappear, until all the land was covered with it. And the water and the darkness and the fog increased over it.
It's clearly talking about water, not us. Clearly talking about water. Go on ahead.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, sure.
And the water was made over that yard, and emptied on it, stood up. And all the bullocks which were in the yard were collected, so that immediately I saw how they sank down and came to naught, and were destroyed in that water.
So cows are getting
vessel
destroyed.
swam on the water.
Yeah.
What's that?
Cows are getting destroyed in the water. There's a vessel that's
Yep.
swimming in the water.
That's right.
But it's
Yeah,
the water is us. Okay, moving on.
but the cows are people here. Cows are Nephilim. And the Nephilim are destroyed in the waters. That's okay with me. It hasn't changed yet. Which were in the yard. Wait a minute. I went back by accident. Hold on. Let me find it again. It is seen they were able to come out, but were destroyed and sank down to the abyss. And again, I saw the vision till those sluices were put away from that high roof, and the fountains of the earth dried up. And other abysses were opened. And other abysses were opened. That's a funny line. Then, you're going to move it again. Then the water began to run into these till the earth became uncovered. And that vessel, till the earth became... Then the water began to run into these till the earth became uncovered. But that vessel reached the earth, and the darkness retreated, and it became light. And that white bullock, which had become a man, came out of the vessel, and the 3 bullocks with him. And one of the 3 bullocks was white, similar to that first bullock. And one of them was red, like blood. And one was black, and the last one's going to be pale. And the white bullock went away from them. And they began to bring forth animals in the desert, and birds, so that there arose out of them a very diversity of kinds: lions, panthers, dogs, wolves, hyenas, wild boars, foxes, and squirrels, and hogs, and falcons, and vultures, and buzzards, and eagles, and crows. And among them was born a white bullock. And they began to bite one another. And that white bullock which was born among them begat a wild ass. Very Gilgameshy. Very Enkidu. But anyway, wild ass and white bullock with it. And the wild ass increased, but that bull which was born from him begat a black and wild boar. And a white sheep. It's going to tell the same story again. And the wild boar begat many boars. But that sheep produced 12 sheep. Gee, that's interesting. The sheep produced 12 sheep. And when these 12 sheep had grown, they gave one of them to the asses, and these asses then gave that sheep to the wolves. I send you out. And that sheep grew up among the wolves. And the Lord brought the 11 sheep to live with it. and to pasture with it among the wolves, and they increased and became many herds of sheep. And the wolves began to fear and oppressed them till they, the wolves, finally destroyed their sheep, young, and threw their young into a stream of much water. But these sheep began to cry aloud on account of their young before the Lord. And a sheep which had been saved from the wolves fled and escaped to the wild asses. And I saw the sheep as they lamented and cried and asked the Lord with all their power, till that Lord of the sheep descended at the voice of the sheep from his high abode, and came and looked after them. And he called to that sheep which is escaped from the wolves, and spoke with it concerning the wolves, that it should counsel them not to touch the sheep. And that sheep went to the wolves by the voice of the Lord, and another sheep met that. The weird part is this actually makes sense to me. And went with it. And these two came together to the abode of those wolves, and spoke with them, and admonished them that henceforth they should not touch the sheep.
Right. Explain to us what's going on there.
It's another recounting of
12.
Christ, the apostles, end times, the fallen angels, Michael's fight with Satan, and Michael's overtaking of the fallen angels and Satan's crew, putting them into the pit of hell.
Okay. This is the 12 and all that. And it's getting a bit tedious.
This greatly supports my theory that the apostles and Christ happen in end times. This is obviously like these catastrophic end of the earth, pit of hell, burning of the earth thing in end times. But now you've got the one white sheep with the 11 white sheep and the 12 white sheep with it. Of course, you're familiar with Judas,
Sounds like a
which
song.
makes for the rest of the math work.
Sounds like a song for you. And the 10 white sheep and the 11 white sheep. And no, just me.
I shouldn't dance ever, but anyway.
No, that was good. You got some good neck motion going on there, man. You know.
I'll disjoin it soon.
Yeah, do the Red Dwarf shuffle.
The what?
I've been rewatching Red Dwarf lately. Just do the Red Dwarf shuffle.
That's a TV show, Red Dwarf?
Yes, TV show. First
Okay.
5 chapters definitely worth watching. Lacks off towards the last, maybe. Well, there's 5, then there's 3, and then they brought it back again. So like, there's first 5. Definitely watch the first 5 series of Red Dwarf. Definitely. It's an old British show. It's not in the 80s, 90s sitcom, funny, sci-fi. I'm describing it really badly. Watch it. Robot head, a cat evolves into a human. You've got a slob and you've got a hollow. Just watch it. Just watch it.
Just watch it.
I'm really doing a
and
bad
the Lord
job.
of the Sheep.
Man,
Sorry.
I'm trying to keep up with you and look at you and look at the live chat and describe.
I know you got a lot to do when you're hosting a show. I get it.
Fuck that shit. This is why people have producers. All right, chapter 19.
Right.
There's wolves.
Hey, if somebody wants to volunteer for MathPig to be his producer, contact MathPig as soon as possible. He needs it.
You see, I'd probably only trust Dave. Dave already does enough for everybody.
Dave already does too much for everybody.
Exactly, man.
What a nice guy, though.
Yeah, I know. I mean, fucking people are texting me in Discord and everything as well. It's like, do you not know that I'm live? Fuck off! Fuck. Right, sorry.
Well, just go ahead and have 3 full-on conversations simultaneously. I don't see the problem.
Yeah, that's what
And
I've
the
been
Lord
doing.
of the sheep went with them, leading them, and all the sheep followed him, and his face was shining, and this appearance terrible and sublime. But the wolves commenced to follow those sheep, till they reached them in a sea of water. And this sea of water was...
Now, let's see if you can keep up with that.
Let's see, I'm going to find the word was again. Nope, I don't see the word was.
I think I went too far. We're here.
Where are we at here? Was, there it is. Divided and the water stood from the side from that before their faces. I love giving you a hard time too, man. And their Lord leading them stood also between...
Fucking asshole.
That's right. Between them and the wolves. And as those wolves did not yet see the sheep, they went into the middle of the sea of the water, and the wolves followed the sheep and ran after them into the sea of water. And when they saw the Lord of the sheep, they turned, that they might flee from before his face. But the sea of water gathered itself together suddenly, took again its own character, and the water swelled and rose till it covered those wolves. And I saw till all the wolves which had followed those sheep were destroyed. And the Lord, where was that? And the Lord of the sheep pastured them, and giving them water and grass, and that former sheep going and leading them. And this sheep ascended to the height of the high rock, and the Lord of the sheep sent it to them. And after that I saw a Lord of the sheep, and he stood before them, and his appearance was terrible and powerful, and all those sheep saw him, and were afraid before his face. And they were all afraid and trembled before him, cried after that sheep which was with him to the other sheep which was among them, we are not able to exist before our Lord, or to look at him. And that sheep which led them returned and ascended to the height of that rock. But the sheep began to be blinked as to their eyes, and erred from the path which it had shown them, but this sheep did not know it. And the Lord of the sheep was enraged over them greatly, and that sheep discovered it, and descended from the height of the rock, and came to the sheep, and found the greater part of them blinded as to their eyes, and erring from his path. And as they saw it, they feared and trembled before its face, and desired to return to their folds. And that sheep took the sheep with it, and came to those erring sheep, and then it began to kill them. And the sheep feared its countenance, and thus that sheep brought back those erring sheep, and they returned to their folds.
Alright, you happy enough?
Yep. I need a little break.
Amends for you?
What's that?
Is it too intense for you?
Yeah,
Share
I
your
guess a
thoughts,
little.
man. This show basically is you sharing your thoughts and me telling you you're wrong. If you don't share them, I can't shout at you.
Here's what I think. I think the time of trouble is troublesome. I think that people will be hurting. I think that people are gonna be extremely confused. I think people were going to be very, very distressed. And it's not our own fault. It's not any of our own fault. None of it. Which is why grace. Because responsibility can't be pressed onto those who are innocent. We're innocent. But still, it will be hard because we have ideas that we won't want to abandon. It'll be hard. It'll be really hard. It's made to be hard. It's supposed to be hard. And it'll just keep getting harder.
Well, they're going to burst into our living rooms and rob us from our families. Alien overlords. Alien overlords. And I know you're trying to be serious and I'm trying to have a laugh, but I can see that you're taking it serious. You know, we've discussed this many a time. And one of the reasons that Richard gets in under your skin, and he's really nice, and you can tell that he's being nice and he's genuinely concerned. And they give the man a wee bit of credit, unlike some people out there who scream at you, if you don't, you're going to hell. Richard still says them sort of things in his lovely, nice way. And, you know, it's not like I'm platforming him here to get the word out. I disagree with everything he says, but he is deserving of that, if anything.
Well, I tell you, man, if what I'm seeing, if I'm looking at it the right way, then almost everyone goes to heaven, and I'm very, very glad for that. I mean, I wouldn't personally want to lose anyone, and I wouldn't want anyone else to lose someone either. You know? That would suck, and it couldn't be heaven if it was like that. And Christians profess things like first fruits, but why is the word first there, and how can they be so proud and ignorant? There's no sense in saying first if there's no second. Oh, I was in a race the other day. I came in first. How many participants? 1. Well, that's all meaningless.
Guaranteed win?
Yeah, it's a guaranteed win. And I think that's where they take comfort. If they race no one, they win. Well, that's great, but the word first is there. They cannot say my religion is right and yours is wrong, and God's only taking the people of my religion. The people of your religion from every nation and every tongue and every people? How in the hell are you going to pull that off? You're going to go to the Amazon and find one person who's never contacted people outside of his tribe in his life and teach him the Bible? Come on.
It's difficult, man. You can't just force that upon someone. I know, but you're...
Well, I'm just saying that they're uber prejudice and self-righteous and elitist and damning, and there's nothing to support their case for saying all that. And it really bothers me that so many people think that they are risking hell. There's no such thing in the text.
But according to you, what would like they're going to be left behind and the earth's going to explode?
Okay, what about after that?
I know we're going to go into the back and forth, but about the whole spirit back and forth and all that. But
sure,
getting blown up isn't going to be nice.
No, I think really, it's like I can't remember seeing I found out years later that I had been at my mom's funeral. I didn't know that for about 8 years, about 7 years. I didn't know that.
You forgot that.
No, I couldn't remember that.
Yes. There's a difference to not knowing. But there's a difference to not knowing and deliberately compartmentalizing and forgetting.
That's right. I deliberately could not remember it. I didn't want it to be any part of what I know. And it was like 7 years, I think 7 years later, almost 7 years later, I visited my eldest sister who lived very close, my next eldest sister, who lived very close to the graveyard. And I asked her if she would take me there. And she said, why don't you just go? Because I'm kind of busy right now and you should be there alone and spend some time and, cry, whatever you need to do. I said, well, because I can't go there if I don't know where it is. And she goes, what do you mean you don't know where it is? You see, if something tragic enough happens to you, you have a reset button. It has to be really tragic. So they say there's no video game reset button to life. I think they're wrong.
You're smiling when you say that.
I think they're wrong.
I know you can say you're wrong, but it's just subconsciously compartmentalizing that. People do that with trauma all the time.
That's my point. If your body was destroyed in a lake of fire, literal. If you were standing in a lava flow was coming at you and you had nowhere left to escape. I think it's like a reset button.
How your brain.
I think it'll be needed.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that there is studies to show that people do that. Right.
I've experienced a little bit of it myself, I think.
Okay, and down to the physicality of their body.
Yeah.
And then their body's going to get wiped out.
Right.
And then their spirit. So how is any of that relevant to how the body works when they're in spirit form?
I think the spirit is a separate thing that can be put into flesh.
Exactly. Right. Well, that's the point. It is separate. That's the point I'm making. So the studies and all the rest of it that shows that the human body does this, there's physicality basis in that. When you're a spirit, who's to say what you could do? You could probably remember your 60 past lives if they existed. You're a spirit. Who's to say what you are capable of?
It's a really interesting idea and question.
You're putting limitations on
what does the spirit retain from the life? And if it retained nothing, why have a life? But if it retains everything, there's no reset. Which means the fallen angels could never find forgiveness. They could never actually perform the judgment. They could never actually finish their sentencing.
Yeah, you're putting limitations of the body onto the spirit and slightly picking and choosing. Not picking and choosing, but maybe not noticed that loophole before, that hole in the logic before, or whatever way you want to put it across.
I don't know. It depends on what function of a person is their spirit, and I think from what I can glean, The spirit is that function that some would call telepathy or empathy or those things. And that is not necessarily my flesh or my memory.
See, we have a person in the chat here who's a veteran and really wished that they had a reset button.
If the things you can remember are so strong.
No. Don't go through that statement. Don't go through that statement.
I'm going to.
Because that statement...
Well, I'll tell you what, Math. I'm a vet, and I had PTSD. So if it's okay, I would speak to it briefly without being offensive.
Okay. No. Well, I know that of you, but...
If it's true that you're able to retain horrible things, you could take it as a compliment to your strength. You could say, I don't have that reset. I wish I did. But you're only speaking about how strong you are. I'm not that strong when it came to my mom. That's all there is to it.
No, that came across very well. I thought it was going to go a completely... No, yeah, you definitely described yourself well. So, where are we? Chapter 36, verse 36. On that, Richard, I appreciate you being open. You're wrong, and there's no aliens out there yet, and they're not overlords, and they're going to measure it with a rope and separate us from our family at fucking gunpoint.
High-tech rope.
High-tech rope.
I had to do it because you've done it to me so many times.
Oh, man. I'm going to have some fun, right? Because Gio has just popped an ID in the chat about a thing.
Yeah, what's that?
Oh, no, I'm not going to say about it online so someone steals it. But, oh, yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun with that. Okay, chapter 30, verse 36.
And I saw there in the vision... Sorry, I got something in my eye. Hold on a second. It's my finger. Got to pull my finger out of my eye. That's the problem. And I saw there in the vision till that sheep became a man and built the Lord of the sheep a house and placed all the sheep in that house. See, all the sheep in that house. You remember how the sheep multiplied and multiplied and multiplied. And I saw till that sheep that had met the sheep, which led the sheep, reposed. And I saw till all the large sheep were destroyed, and small ones arose in their places, and they came to a pasture, and approached a stream of water. And this sheep, which led them, and which became a man, was separated from them, and reposed. And all the sheep saw it, and cried over it exceedingly. Oh, no, that's the second time they got the in death right. Reposed in death, and all the sheep saw it, and cried over it exceedingly. And I saw till they became quiet from their crying over the sheep, and they crossed that stream of water. And there always arose other sheep that led them in the place of those which had departed and led them. And I saw the sheep until they came into a good place, and into a pleasant and glorious land. And I saw the sheep till they were satisfied, but the house stood among them in the beautiful land. And sometimes their eyes were opened, and sometimes they were blinded. Till another sheep arose. And do you not see a pattern here?
Yeah,
and led them and conducted them all back, and their eyes were opened.
Yeah, everybody can see now. Lots of sheep. And the dogs and the foxes and the wild boars, and they ate them, and then they come back, and then there's probably going to be a white one and a ginger one, and then it's all going to go round in a circle.
No, I meant the pattern even within just this section, where it's talking about the sheep becoming blind and lost, and some of them can see, but some of them can't. But then this one white sheep comes, but then they have more offspring, and some of those can see, and some of those cannot.
It's fucking tedious to the point where we're going to get to the end of the chapter, and that says.
Well, yes, it's extremely tedious, but that's not my overall point. My overall point is this is talking about a cyclical nature of our existence on an earth.
Oh my goodness. Look at how long this chapter is.
Because it calls the white sheep the savior. It calls the white, not by name. It calls the white sheep that one white sheep that leads all the rest of the sheep.
Look, okay. One of them was saved and not killed, but escaped and cried over the rest of them. Skipping on, will that appear again?
Exactly.
Skipping on again, will that appear? Oh, look, come on, destruction of the shepherds. Oh, the shepherds got killed this time. Oh, was there sheep there?
No, wait. This is not all repetitive here.
Oh man, it really.
I mean, it's telling the story again, but it's not repetitive within itself. It's not like the phases of the moon.
There's still 30 verses before the end of the chapter. Go on, we'll skip right. You can start at 73. There you go. All right, you can start there.
Okay.
And they began to build.
Okay.
Sheep with hands that are building. High tower. We're going to go into the Tower of Babel. Go on.
It might be interesting to see just how many times they tell the same story.
No, it won't be interesting. You want to skip the
No,
waffle.
we should back up and go all the way back to where we were and read all of that.
So, Dave, hi. Do you want to do the stream tonight instead of Richard? Because I ain't reading all that. You can have...
My point is this. People say, okay, this is detached from, this is not the same as. But I just see this story again and again and again. And even within one book, it repeats many, many times. And I see the same story repeated several times throughout the biblical text as well. And that's all I'm saying.
Yes, and we get it. We get it. I think for at least 20 minutes now, I have heard about that many sheep. I think I'm Welsh. All right.
Wait, do the Welsh keep sheep? I'm an American. I don't know these things.
Oh, Welsh ride sheep. It's a running joke that the Welsh ride sheep. So I've heard that many that many sheep stories. I think like I'm Welsh.
Do they have really big sheep, or most Welsh people kind of thin?
I don't know. Yeah. No, we're not going to go into sheep shagging. Right.
Wait, I want to figure out the mechanics of how sheep survive people riding them, because the sheep I've seen in my life are like 120, 150 pounds.
Oh, you put them at the edge of a cliff, and then they always push back.
I think that was another reference. Not sheep riding, but sheep riding. But anyway. I think that's off topic. We might address it some future date, but I think for now it's off topic. As Dave's pointed out,
don't forget to wear your wellies. Right. You've got 73 to the end on a chapter 90. I'm already highlighting this yellow because that's next week, okay? So 73, there we go.
And they again began to build, as before, and put up that tower, and it was called the High Tower. And they again began to place a table before that tower, and all the bread on it was unclean and not pure. And concerning all this, the sheep were blinded as to their eyes and did not see.
Pointing out to see if they get their fucking eyesight back. We're just ending, okay? Go on ahead.
Okay, I'll try. Blinded their eyes and did not see, and their shepherds likewise. And a great many were delivered to their shepherds for destruction. Oh boy. And they trod on the sheep with their feet and devoured them. And the Lord of the sheep remained quiet, till all the sheep were scattered in the field and mixed themselves with them, and did not save them from the hands of the wild beasts. And he who wrote the book brought it to the houses of the Lord of the sheep, and showed it, and read it, and petitioned him on their account, and asked him, while showing him all the deeds of their shepherds, and testifying before him against all the shepherds. And he took the book, and laid it beside him, and departed.
Good. He's took his sheep. He's fucked off with his fucking sheep. I swear to God, too many sheep. Right.
So there's a lot of word sheep right there, no doubt.
Yeah. More sheep than aliens.
I would argue that one. But
so,
anyway.
That's basically just a long-ass story repeating itself, and the synopsis is, we're all useless, and Jesus is going to come save us. Jesus is the white sheep, and he's ginger.
Why is it worthless instead of given grace due to innocence?
I'm just saying it as I see it.
I just think it's innocence.
Well, if it's innocence, why treat us like alien overlords and rip us from our families and put us through that? If we're innocent, that's the point I'm trying to make, man.
We're all going to the same place for judgment. I don't see
so it's
why
okay.
You keep
so it's all right. So it's
apart.
okay. So you're, the what is it? Justifies the end. The means justifies the end. Is that what you're saying?
We're talking about women children stay with the woman, so it's not completely ripped apart anyway. And then we're talking about maybe the man being separated from his woman for a time.
Yes.
But that time would be something around 30 days. I don't know exactly. text doesn't exactly say. It just says about a month. At the most. So, a month without the woman that I love and without my children.
No.
Is that hard? Yeah, it's hard.
No, man. That whenever I'm used to it now because you know my situation. But the first 3 months, you have no idea, and that was seeing them, you know, only on the weekends, Friday, as it is now. But I'm used to it now. But that was only being apart from them for 4 days.
Drives you crazy.
No. It doesn't drive you crazy. It's to the point where you can't see driving home. You're crying your fucking eyes out that hard because you just left them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the first time my woman was away for the child for a holiday was for 2 days, and she was a mess. And I laughed at her because I was like, it's about fucking time you had to put up with it. But anyway, it's hard, man. Now, I understand
It is.
that you had a wife and the kid and stuff and all that there, and you've now obviously got used to it. And that's maybe a bad phrase, but I think it stands.
It works.
But when you're there and you're in the midst of a family, it would be different now looking back on it. If you were there at the time and you were separated from your family, no way. I've explained to you that situation one time where the guy jumped out in front of the car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had to hold myself back from killing him. You know, it's difficult. And if I'm innocent, I don't deserve that.
You don't deserve it.
But the means,
It will be necessity.
the means justifies the end.
You could say it that way, and you're right. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong.
I know, but that statement makes it very
We
from
just
your point
can't
of view.
have. We can't have the ignorance of alchemy and simultaneously the technology of science. You can't have both. It doesn't work. You could never have both of those simultaneously. So over time, we've closed the gaps that the God fills, and that's good because we've accepted technology, and we need to. But the repercussions of that, people have lost their faith.
Yes, because faith was based in a supernatural being.
Yeah, they had the wrong idea in the first place. They were misled from the start.
Point,
that's
yeah,
right.
That's the point I'm trying to make. You know, if anything, the belief in technology will blur the lines. Because
I think that
technology is not supernatural, and they associate God with being supernatural. So the fact that there is technology and he uses technology or they use technology, they will not accept.
Worse.
It will be worse because they will never see him as supernatural because of the base of it.
Right. But the idea of supernatural aspects of angels and God is a necessity of the religious. It's not even in the text.
And it just falls back to that statement, was it Hitchens or whoever made it, that any alien technology is far enough advanced is indistinguishable from magic.
I don't know who said it. I've heard the expression.
You've heard the expression.
I've also heard the opposite of it. Sufficient magic would be mistaken for technology.
That's what's going to happen. Well, no, it's not what's going to happen. That's a bad statement.
I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think
totally
it's technology mistaken for
magic.
Yeah,
I'm blaming you. I'm going to have to kick you again. You confused me. Where's the kick button? So, Richard, is there anything else you want to add? Arthur C. Clarke. You fucker. Arthur C. Clarke is the man that said that. Dave has let us know. So, Richard, anything you want to say? Because it is going to be 2 weeks.
It's going to be. I love you, and thanks for showing up, guys. And,
yes. For those
I find the opportunity to even talk about these things truly humbling. I feel like I didn't. If I say anything that matters at all, I feel like I didn't earn it. But I want to say thank you for hearing it.
For those who weren't here at the start, because we've now got like 12 more people who weren't here at the start, the reason that we will not be performing next week is, hold on, fucking live production.
Play it again, Sam.
Live production. Yeah.
Come on, you played it for her, you played it for me.
The reason we will not be here next week is because of this, which I'm slightly excited about. I am excited about this. I can't say I'm not. Sorry, Richard got kicked to the curb, but yeah, sit back and enjoy. So yeah, next week we have Eric Murphy here, and yeah, it should be good fun. We should have a bit of banter, bit of back and forth, and I look forward to having you all here. What else have we got? Have you, Richard, anybody coming up this week?
No, I think I'm just going to do that. I'm going to finish that drawing of Exodus.
Yeah?
I think I'm going to do that instead.
Yeah, lots of people have been asking about your art, man. Talk a wee bit more when you're doing it. Explain when you're going through it, and yeah, more people are interested. And I've had a lot of people in the live chats asking what's going on in the
People
background.
think I should put audio on them?
No, I'm telling you that you should put audio on it because people are asking me
Okay.
what the hell it is, and I'm sick of having to explain it. I just post your
Fair enough.
playlist, and then they watch it, but there's not much audio to explain what's going on. So I'm
Oh,
not
there's
saying
none.
talk over the. Why am I even talking about this on stream? Everybody,
I don't know.
thank you very much for coming. Bye bye.